Guys, we have a very important day today. I think the big question we're asking is this whole thing with Hong Kong. Is this going to give us the bullish bounce that we're waiting for, or is it a trap? Are they waiting for cheaper? Is it actually sell the news event and then they come and buy up later? It's a big question. But what we are starting to see is we see the Bitcoin dominance starting to lose some trend. We're starting to see a little bit of weakness. And what this is starting to do, it's starting to create the popcorn effect yet again. Now, what's quite crazy, guys, is firstly, we've been speaking about AI, and many tokens are now entering the zones beautifully, not breaking any trends to the downside, but coming for perfect retest. So we're going to definitely just go through the AI tokens again. But you're starting to get these crazy little pops. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Super all of a sudden just exploded. We had the GRT. Let's actually have a look at GRT. GRT had a massive explosion as well. Let's search it in over here. GRT had a big explosion. So what we're starting to get is the popcorn effect within altcoins. Now, guys, if this dominance, as you can see over here on the daily, massive red candle, we're going to speak about what we should be doing there. It actually hit the TP perfectly. But what we're starting to see is because we're getting this dominance breaking down, it's going to start these popcorn effects when it comes to altcoins. But what we got to make sure of now is that Bitcoin sends it. As you can see on the chart over here, we got a rocket. We're saying send it. This is the time for Bitcoin to bounce. We spoke about the zone. We spoke about the 26,800. This is the 618 level. We have the RSI sitting at the bottom. Now it is time for it to break certain levels to the upside. We're going to speak about where are the supports, what we want to see within Bitcoin, what we want to see within the dominance, what we want to see within all the altcoins. I have some more buy zones. I have some lower buy zones. Nonetheless, it's going to be a massive show. No more wasting time. Let's get into it.
Click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the chart, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, 𝗕𝗆𝗕𝗏𝗄. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the chart, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, 𝗕𝗆𝗕𝗏𝗄. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click. Enter the sniper.
Crypto Banter fam, hope you're having a fantastic day. First thing you need to do is, if you're brand new to the family, smash the subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Hope you're all doing fantastic. I have two major things for you guys. Firstly, let's actually bring up this guy. We got the winner of the ByBit competition, David. What's happening, bro? Are you excited? Like you've won a Tesla, bro. You've won an absolute Tesla. Just unmute yourself there. Let's unmute you.
No, man. No, fired up, dude. Thank you so much.
Bro, well done.
Thank you.
I see you got a Sniper School shirt on. I think quickly, bro, because I'm about to speak about Sniper School and why people need to join the next cohort. Like, is it worth it? I think that's 100%. The big question I want to ask you. Is it worth it? People should do Sniper School. What did it do for you?
1000%, actually. No, it did everything for me, man. You guys were the last hope, and that's the reason why, like, my name on the leadership boards or whatever, it had a Sniper Banter on there, because it was just like, you know, that's the email I created, because this was it, man. I was like, Crypto Banter.
You did it, bro.
Follow it. Yeah.
You bought a Tesla, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's incredible. I'm so proud of you, bro. And I'm excited for you to come join me and add to the course. Everything that worked for you, everything that you built, I would love to add it to the course. I want to keep teaching, but this is why we do it, bro. I've sat here for 2 years trying to teach every single day, and to hear a story of how you've managed to make it happen, and not only make it happen, you win a Tesla in the process too. I am so happy right now. We have to celebrate our wins. So well done, brother. I'm excited for us to teach a lot together. But just take your moment now, bro. Take your moment and enjoy it. Send me photos. I want to see the photos.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother. So guys, as you see, Sniper School does fantastic thing. So if you want to join Sniper School, go below in the description, click the register to Sniper School. They're going to send you an email, 3 basic steps, and take your first step at learning the foundations. Prep now. When this bull run comes, you got to be ready. And it's absolutely incredible. Next thing quickly, guys, is Banter Bubbles. So we've got Banter Bubbles. We've got all the bubbles over here. Remember, this has extra features. You can jump in. You can see a chat when these tokens are moving. And you can get this on the App Store. So come and join Banter Bubbles. Now, let's jump in and let's quickly speak at where we're at with Bitcoin. So the first thing I can see is we're starting to get the shorter time frame RSIs reset. And we spoke about this. We spoke about that on the shorter time frame. We hit a double bottom, which is a bullish signal, starting to send the markets up. What we then started to do was started to break the trend. And ideally after that, we were looking for a higher high, which we got. Now what we're looking for is the higher low. And if we can hold this area over here, it's going to attempt the major trend line yet again. Now, what trend line is that? That's the important trend line that takes us all the way back to the previous highs. Now, remember, we stopped at $31,000. And ultimately, since we've stopped then, we've started a little bit of this pullback. Not too aggressive, though. But we did start the pullback. And what we wanted to see firstly is higher time frame. Let's hold the major supports. What is the major support? It's the 200 weekly moving average. It's a zone that we haven't broken for a while. We finally got ahead of it. And that's still the $25,000 level. Okay, so we've hit that already twice. And we have officially had a bounce. Now what we're starting to do is we're starting to zoom in and to make sure that in shorter time frames, we are ready if this is going to attempt the highs yet again. Now, it still stands the same. We're looking for a higher low as things stand. If we hold these levels, it's the perfect long areas. Perfect on many altcoins, which we'll speak about shortly. But this will be the time to be loading up and your risk to reward is really good. Now, from here, what we want to see is we do have a momentum trend line. So remember what I spoke about yesterday is firstly, we track to see that we get the first higher high. Amazing. Now we see that we hold the important level. And then what I do above that is I put the momentum line. So it gives me a little bit of understanding of how long it can take until we do decide to go attempt those highs yet again. Now, this is incredible, guys, because what it starts to do is it starts to get in your head of how to time your trades. So, for example, if you see right now Bitcoin sitting in this level and you know it needs to hold this zone, what the trend line is also telling you is we may sit here for another day to maybe a day and a half. So it starts to put in your head, okay, I'm looking for buys. I want to enter the market, but I do have 2 days to get my positions filled, which is the perfect time to understand that now you dip in 30%. Once we start to go sideways, start to get close to trend, another 30%. Stop loss under the low. We break the trend, your positions are in. So it just gives you a great idea to understand how long to fill your positions. Now, guys, when I say that I trade, when I take any day trades or whenever I take any major trades within the market, it actually takes me 3 days to get my entry, which I'll hold the trade for 1 day. But it just shows you again, the hard work in crypto is the entry. After that, it is the risk, and then it is the reward. Very simple. So now's the time to zoom in. You're in the buy zone right now. So now you're starting to strategize and starting to prep yourself for the actual trade. Once it starts to play out, it's to get your risk to minimal. So the way I want to see this is I have the 4 hour at the bottom, and I'm looking at the 8 hour now. 8 hours hitting the bottom too. So we're getting to a certain point where we should start to see on the shorter time frame a little bit of a bounce in this area. Okay, but what I want to see is I basically want to see us have a little bounce up over here, bounce up, maybe slow down, and then I want to see the break. Then it is very crucial that we do break this high. And that level will again be the 28,500. We do so, we're looking to chase that high, another retest, and then make its way to the $30,000 to the $31,000 level. We know how critical that is because on the weekly, we are waiting for a massive squeeze. We're waiting to hopefully squeeze through this $31,000 to finally get us to the higher levels of up to a $40,000 Bitcoin. Until we have lost this moving average on the weekly, we can say that there might be a $40,000 Bitcoin in 2023. Don't lose that focus because you're going to sit and say, until we've lost this major indicator, you can still think like that, guys. And the reason why you want to still think like that, because if it happens, you are not going to miss it. So on the shorter time frames, keep it very simple for yourself to understand that right now, the same support is still inbound. We have the previous lows of the 25,500. That's the big major support. Short time frame now, we have these lows of basically around the 26,700 to the $27,000 zone. We want to see us slow down here, guys. We want to see it slow down, and then we want to see the break of the trend. any longs that you want, be a little bit of time, will take a little bit of time of the next day or two to fill them up. By the time you break this trend, you want to be inside of those longs with your stop loss under the previous low, because now we're going to attempt the highs. And it's very important we break those highs. But for now, let's get the entries. Now, the next big next big thing I want to speak about is the Bitcoin dominance. So now we're starting to see a little bit of weakness in the dominance, which is crazy. So obviously, what we're starting to get now is the slowdown. We got to remember, we actually hit the target that we wanted for dominance. And that was the 48 to 49%. This is like, technically, it's the top of the range. And previously we've been here, we've actually gone all the way back down to the 40%. This has ultimately been probably the best time in the last 2 years to actually get into altcoins, was whenever we were in the phase above the 47%. Look at this. Every time we got to these zones were probably the best times to make sure that you have built your altcoin portfolios. And what we've been speaking about is maybe for the first time it breaks out of this range and we do end up going to a 53 or 54% zone. But for me, that's a humongous Bitcoin pump. But we can't think ahead of that just yet until we have broken these highs. And now what we're starting to do is we're starting to see some weakness within dominance. And what that basically means is it means that we need to still think that at any moment this alt pump, and now if it's to USDT or if it's to Bitcoin, it doesn't matter. It's about when is altcoins going to gain strength within the market, within USDT and within Bitcoin. But ultimately, Bitcoin is the one that we want to beat. By us sitting in altcoins, we actually make Bitcoin. So now what we're starting to do here, which we haven't seen for a while, is we're about to make our first short-term lower low. And what this is starting to do, it's starting to create the popcorn effect. Now, remember the beginning of the year, we had the popcorn effect. All of a sudden, you just have this random altcoin that just brings this ridiculous gains at any single moment. And the way it works is it works off narratives. All of a sudden, I don't know what happened in the last 24 hours, but all of a sudden, gaming came to life. Now, this is what's very important about your long-term portfolio, guys, is what you're going to see within altcoins. You're always going to have the dominance going up, then you're going to have it distributed into altcoins. But not every altcoin is going to run at once. You're going to have certain narratives that explode at different single moments. And this is why you diversify your portfolio. This is why you have some in DeFi, some in smart contracts, some in L1s, some in gaming, some in AI. You're getting into all the narratives because at any moment they pop. Now, the big thing that I want to remind you guys of is you take a pen and paper right now, okay? And what I want you to do is remember when I said your portfolio, you take all your coins and I want you to put them on a very simple thing of low risk, medium risk, high risk, very high risk. And I want you to go back to the analogy that I made of the war field where you have your soldiers, okay? Because as you can see, if you're anywhere between your high risk and your very high risk, these are guys that go out to the field, they do a lot of damage, but if you leave them out there for too long, they get killed. That's just a very simple thing of understanding that, okay? So you got to categorize your tokens. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that you're allowed to enter these trades, but as soon as they have that quick explosive run, it explodes quickly and you have to get out very fast. So it's about the lifespan of how long you're allowing yourself in those tokens. Now, if I show you, you look at GRT as the perfect example. When I showed you guys that portfolio, I said GRT falls under the high risk token. Now, not to say that it's just risky. The reason why I'm saying is this, it explodes really quickly. Once it explodes, it pulls back very fast. And that's why as soon as any of your coins explode fast, straight to the upside, you have to get out, guys. This is why you're in so many different tokens. But look at this. This thing literally ran. We were getting early entries. We were in over here in these areas, right, for the last few days. All of a sudden, look how it just exploded. From here, it literally pumped. Within 24 hours, it just ripped really quickly to the upside. So what I'm trying to explain to you is whatever category your token is in, you need to understand how long you're leaving them out in the field. Now, for example, your Bitcoin and Ethereum is your more commanders. It's the more top of your range. You can leave them out there because you know they'll survive. But when it comes to the smaller tokens, you need to know that as soon as you see that pop, and I'll show you another example of it, which is Superfarm. Look at that. All of a sudden, Superfarm went crazy. And look at the time before that. Superfarm literally ran all the way from 13 cents and went all the way to 25 cents within 1 day. If you're any person that understands that you are getting into multiple tokens for exactly this reason, but when you see Superfarm, it falls under very high risk. Why? Because the day you open your bubbles and you see a token doing 100%, Guys, get him out there, because if you leave him out there, it's going to come all the way back to square one. Stop allowing your trades and your tokens and your soldiers out in the field for too long if their strength is not that. Some of your tokens are powerful for quick explosion, and that's it. Some of them grow long over time, and you have to start understanding the difference. So whenever you have any of your high risk tokens, any one of them, that's why you got 5 of them, that's why you got 6 of them. But the day you see one of them go and they do 100, 200%, you get him out. You get him out completely, and you have your other 5. And that money, you can either choose to go fill up on Bitcoin. You can even keep it in cash for any big pullbacks. But you got to understand the difference. If you have no understanding of the difference, stop getting rich and poor. Why are we getting rich and poor and rich and poor? Because you have no idea. You've never categorized your tokens and you don't understand them. So again, when I'm talking about gaming, when I'm talking about any of these smaller cap coins, they give the gains, guys, but they are good for a quick period of time and then they suck. So whenever you see any of your tokens do something crazy, get out. Get out completely. And then you have the rest. Because one day you'll have Super. One day you'll have GALA. One day you'll have Sandbox, which I see is waking up right now. They're going to pop at different moments. So guys, it's just a big thing to focus on. So back in, we spoke there. Let's go back into quickly Ethereum. So Ethereum's doing incredibly well. We have this 4-hour trend when it comes to Ethereum, one of our lower caps. But you can see over here supporting beautifully. So again, for me, Ethereum, I'm loading up and my stop losses are below this area. It's holding strong. Now, the reason why I'm holding up again is we are breaking crazy levels. I've spoken about this a few times this week. But again, this Ethereum to Bitcoin is breaking out on the weekly and it's looking stronger and stronger every single day. So right now, Ethereum is looking hot. May this be Bitcoin going down? May this be Bitcoin going up? What it's saying is it's going to outperform Bitcoin as things stand. And if we're breaking on the weekly, it probably means for the next month or two, we're going to have a better Ethereum than what we are in Bitcoin. So take understanding of what that actually means. Same when it comes to the dominance. It's showing that it's showing strength over all the altcoins too, not just Bitcoin. So pay attention. If you don't have ETH and you haven't loaded up, even if you want to trade short time frame, ETH looks like one of the best options right now. Now, one of the next ones I want to speak about quickly is Litecoin. Because Litecoin is looking good. Now, if we actually go here, let's go to our show trades and let's actually go have a look at Litecoin. Because Litecoin is looking really good at the moment and is looking to break trend again. Now, what I want to remind you guys of is this whole thing with Hong Kong. These are the tokens. These are the tokens that they are possibly able to buy. So pay attention to a lot of these. Some of them are performing pretty well. Some are performing okay. And I'll speak about the ones shortly. But one that's definitely highlighting is definitely Litecoin. Litecoin, Chainlink, and even Matic, which we'll speak about now. But if we look at Litecoin, Litecoin is breaking trend to the upside. It had the little fake outs, but now it's looking really good. So if you look at that over there, Litecoin is looking ready to go. So for me, I would probably say last entries on Litecoin. Last entries in the zone over here. I would not be getting it much above the $94 range. And for me, I would definitely put a stop loss just under this previous 8-hour low. Litecoin is definitely strong. And remember, it has a major resistance. Very similar to when Matic had the $1 as the resistance. Remember that time? It was hitting that wall until it got through and it went to 1.6. And it's very similar to Solana, where Solana's fighting the $27. But once you get through that, it's $40. So from here, what I'm expecting Litecoin to do is go attempt the tops yet again. And that's around the $100 level. If it gets through that, guys, now all of a sudden you start looking at a $145 to $160 Litecoin. So this can be a really good trade for you in the bear market. Something's happening with Litecoin. Volume's in there. It's breaking to Bitcoin. So if you did not get it, it's looking good here. Just make sure you put a stop loss. Now, Litecoin, I would probably put maybe under medium risk, maybe under high risk. So what that means is if it decides to run, so from here, it decides to go up, starts to break this. If it moves really quickly, I'm out. Really quick. It's going there to make the money. I don't really want Litecoin for the long term. It's up to you if you want it for the long term, but ultimately, it looks like a coin that can make the cash, but get it out. You may leave it for another week or two because I think it falls under the medium category. So you can give it a little bit of time. It actually has some fundamentals. It's been here for a very long time. It's good volume, things like that. But ultimately, just understand where you categorize it. Next one I want to speak about quickly is THETA. Now, I spoke about 𝗕𝗏, but 𝗕𝗏 for me, let's actually go over here. Let's make sure we get under, there we go. 𝗕𝗏 for me is falling under the high risk category. So I'm just getting the right charts here. Amazing. But what I saw on 𝗕𝗏 this morning is we actually hit a double bottom. So literally double bottom and a very good convincing candle. So for anyone that's looking for some trades, 𝗕𝗏, again, I got a small stoppage on it the other day of 2%. Now it is hitting a double bottom. And if it's going to go from here, I'm still looking at 1.10. So if you look at profit-wise, risk to reward looks incredible here. So remember, on a lot of these coins and these trades that are coming right now, take this little long position tool, put it in over here, and see what your risk is. So you can see around 2 to 3% risk, and see what your reward is of up to 30%. Risk to reward of 1 to 10. So 𝗕𝗏, I'm quickly going through these because these are the ones that are on the list. Chainlink, amazing. I'm long, short time frame. Bitcoin Cash, not yet. So we spoke about this one. So if you look at this list over here, Bitcoin Cash, not at the moment. Polkadot, not at the moment. I'd actually be closing some positions in Polkadot. It is not looking too great at the moment. It's holding a good horizontal, but not showing much strength. We then have another big one, which is XRP, which has been doing really well. So for those who have been focusing on XRP, it actually hit your first TP. So if you're a short-term trader and you got the entries, it hit the 618, guys. So you can take some short-term entries, exits over there. When it comes to the medium time frame, I think this is still going to attempt the highs. Now, what I see over here is the inverse head and shoulders. I see this left shoulder, I see the head. So there's going to be a possible retest again of around the 47 to 48. And then I see explosion. Now, this has the main resistance of 60 cents. Above that, you start looking at 85 cents. You start looking at $1. So XRP is like Litecoin. It's showing a lot of strength within this current market. Now, guys, I want to quickly jump through AI. For me, AI has hit the higher highs on the short time frame, but now are in those zones. So remember what I said. Make sure you have every single narrative and you have a few tokens in each narrative. So again, Singularity is in our zone of between the 28 cents and the 30 cent mark for spot to medium-term trades. We have Fetch. We have a look over here. Look at that. It literally hit the bottom of our box perfect. We're starting to form a pin bar candle. So pay attention to this one here if you did not get it. This matrix is just gone, guys. We nailed this one. Just running at the moment. No entries there. Render, guys. So Render, again, we're hitting strong pin bar candles. Hopefully this is the time where it bounces. I want to see this play out if it holds the current low over here. But we do have one more zone that I can possibly get to, which is this area over here, which is between the 2.2 to the 2.3 level over here. But still, for me, Render on the pullback makes sense. With everything that's going on, definitely makes sense. Who got Ocean, guys? In the chat, pop Ocean. Because yesterday I spoke about the pullback, and I said, guys, I think this pullback's fake. They're just trapping over here, and all of a sudden bounce beautifully on there, and Ocean's taking off. Do you see how this popcorn effect is happening? AI is definitely going to fly, but you see how it's popping. You have to be in like a couple AI tokens, and one of them are going to go at a time. They're not all running. They like to run some days all at once, but now you can see AGIX was up 2 days ago. Ocean was down. Now Ocean's up. AGIX is down. So you start to get understanding of why you need a few of them. But this still falls on a high risk, guys. So what it means is when you see this quick explosion, because I'm still seeing this rally up another 10, 20% pretty quickly, get out. Get out, get out, get out, get out. So remember, you have your soldiers and you need to understand how long you're leaving them out in the field. Okay. Next one. GRT. Oh, guys. So there was the TP. So I gave you guys the take profit points. I gave you the trade. This was the entry. I said the short-term take profits was this area over here, and we hit it perfectly. We hit it perfectly, and now it looks like crap. Okay, so if you're still in, guys, I'll probably look at taking some profits now. If you're still well in the profits, this was our entries over here, because I think it might come back to these original buy zones. I would be buying GRT if it's between 11 to 12 cents. I'll be loading up again. But this just reminds you again of why you have your understanding of your soldiers. They make you money very fast, but they come all the way back down and they give the money back. And you'll see this with many coins in your portfolio. So if you notice that with one of your coins in the past, or you've had that experience before, they're your kamikaze guys, the guys that go out, they do a lot of damage, but you got to get them out because they're not very smart. They blow themselves up, they hurt themselves when they're out there. This was a really, really, really good trade. So for now, guys, I'll probably take some TPs because this is looking like a big sell candle. And I think they got listed on a Korean exchange. I think that's what actually created the short-term pump to the upside. So this was officially a sell the news event. Now, I want to speak about some trades. Let's actually go through them. So the first one, again, is Solana. It's the buy zone for me, guys. Until Bitcoin's broken that level, for me, this is the buy zone. So as you can see over here, you can see that we're basically playing out a little inverse head and shoulders. So for me, Solana is what I'm getting into at the moment. We still see it breaking to the Ethereum pair, which is crazy because Ethereum is breaking strong to the upside. So Solana looks really good. Let's speak about injective protocol. There we go. You got a buy zone, guys. You never had a buy zone a few days back. Now you have a short-term buy zone. This is not a long-term buy. Short-term trade buy for now. That was the long-term buy entry, which we'll see if it comes back to later. But this is looking really good over here. Then what you want to do secondly is you want to take these two lows. You see you got this low over here and you got this one over here. Just draw a trend line. And anywhere in this zone here, if not the retest here, is your buy zones and your stop loss will run under that trend line. Make sure you put a stop loss in. Very important. The next one that looks really good, if it holds this level, it will be a phenomenal trade if it holds it. If it breaks it, you're going to get a way better entry. But this looks good. Look how many times we've hit this horizontal. Okay. And you can see this is Atom to USDT. We've hit it beautifully. Risk to reward is incredible right now. So this, for me, the buys between $10 and $10.3 is great. Why? Because we have the same bottoms being hit every time, which means I can pop my stop loss below that area. Now, what you want to do secondly is you want to put a risk to reward tool. Okay, so if this bounces now, this should go to 618. So you take a Fibonacci from the top to the bottom, and it gives you a 618 area. And it gives you a more or less take profit zone. You just saw it with GRT. GRT hit that 618 perfect, like literally to the cent, which was crazy. Now, this is the same thing. So if I take where I want to enter right now, and I say, okay, amazing. Where's my risk? My risk is 2%. Where's my reward? 30%. Risk to reward ratio of 1 to 14. This is incredible trade to attempt. Just put a stop loss. Very important. But this one looks really, really, really good. Secondly, what I really like about it is we have a tapering down volume. So what you can see over here is volume is coming to the downside. And what it's showing is soon we're going to have a breakout in volume. Either it's going to be the loss of this low and we accelerate fast down. That means we want to be protected because we can get way earlier buys. Remember, it's all about the entry price. Don't worry about stop loss. Don't worry about these things. If you get stopped out and you get a better buy, be thankful because it means more growth in the future for when it goes back to those targets. If it bounces here and we get a volume breakout, you've got yourself a perfect entry. And this could rally all the way up to the $13 to $14 zone. So as I said, it's up to a 30% trade. So pay attention to that. Then what we have next is Sandbox. Oh, it was in the buy zone. It was in the buy zone before the show. Okay, but what you do have is you have a secondary buy. Now you can see gaming is definitely coming to life at the moment. So what you have is Sandbox. If you get a closing Sandbox above 57, 58 cents, it's breaking out on the daily. So from here, if that starts, it means you're starting the correction of this current move to the downside. So again, you want to take a Fibonacci from the top to the bottom and you want to draw it. And you want to see where is the 618. And what it's basically indicating is if we break out strong over here, we can attempt the 618 like we just saw with GRT, like we just saw with Super, which I'll actually speak about in a second. So this for me, risk to reward. If we break that trend, what I want to do, let's put the tool, there we go, is I want to get the breakouts. I want to put my stop loss under the previous low. So you can see this one, it's a little bit of a higher stop loss of 7 to 8%, which means no leverage. It means spot. But when it comes to gains, you're looking at making 35%, 30 to 35%. So this is just a spot entry. People ask me, what's the difference between knowing when to trade leverage, knowing when to trade spot? Is risk to reward. If I have a risk of 0.3 or 0.5% on a trade, I can take some leverage. If it's a 10% stop loss, I can't take leverage. So that's all that changes. It is the amount of risk to enter the actual trade. So Sandbox, pay attention, volume incoming, looking good. The next one we have over here is GALA. So now we're seeing the gaming and I see this horizontal over here. I think this is great, guys. So the buys over here between 2.8 to the 2.95 cent mark is my GALA entries. If it breaks this trend, we are in early. We want to pay attention. You can see how quickly I'm jumping to AI, jumping to games. I'm making sure that we're with the narratives when the buy zones are there, because when they start to take off one by one, it's going to be very hard to get the entries. So today we are speaking a little bit about gaming, because it's important to see, have you looked at your portfolio and do you have some gaming, at least 2-3 tokens in case gaming takes off. Now, gaming in the last bull market was the biggest gainers. It was a really, really great narrative that made a lot of money, but they are high-risk soldiers. When they have that crazy pump, one day you'll see a GALA pump of 200% in 2-3 days. You're out. If you leave him out there, they come all the way back. You don't believe me? Let me show you. Look at GALA. Literally ripped from here all the way up, comes all the way back down to the entry. So it's about understanding the difference between your tokens. So GALA looks like a really good one. Let me put the risk to reward just to make sure again. 7 to 8% and up to 30 to 40% within gains. Now let's look at Super. Now Super broke out really good, guys, and you might be getting a little bit of an entry. I don't know what's going on with Super, but what we are seeing is these crazy volume spikes that are coming out of nowhere. Whenever it's hitting the range lows, something's happening with Super. So pay attention over there. For me, the buy zones are on this retest between 14 and the 14 to 14.5 cents would be my entry zones. I'm still seeing this go to the top of the 22 cents. So ultimately, you get those buys. It's a good 40, 50, 60% trade. We might even break out of the range. Now, as a long-term investor, I would be dollar costing here, because the day that Super breaks out of this range, you stop thinking of the 20-cent mark. You start looking at the major areas of 60 cents to $1. So for the long time frame, remember I explained to you guys yesterday, you only get the market that goes in 3 directions. What is this one clearly doing? It's come from a big bear market, and this thing's been accumulating. And what they say is, as long as your token goes sideways is what creates the result. So if you have this long period of accumulation over here, this is what creates the long move to the upside. And we saw that with Bitcoin. Why do you think last cycle Bitcoin had to go into a 2-year bear cycle, where it was just ranging? Because that 2 years is what created that crazy bull run of 1 year, where we saw insane gains of up to 200, 300, 400% within Bitcoin. So now you have a token here that's getting crazy volume at the range. Now, guys, put yourself into the normal mentality of how this actually works. Why was there no huge volume when it was pumping? No huge volume. Why? Because the big guys are not buying when it's going up. This is all retail. So you have volume coming down and you have price going up. This is the trap. This is how they destroy you. But all of a sudden, everyone that bought high up in these areas over here, price comes down, it panics all of them out. No retail are buying now, and all of a sudden we start accumulating who's buying. The big dogs are back. They're all buying up, everything like that. And you see how it's a simple mental thing of flushing out the market all the time, how they just flush you out. But there's interest here. Start fishing with the smart money. When everyone's flushed, when everyone's feeling like that, these guys are buying. And that's why, for me, again, you have Super at the bottom range over here. You want Super in your account, I'll be dollar costing. You want to be in before we break this top range over here. Because when that starts, we start the climb, the volume will start to come down, and this is retail. You actually, it's sad to say, but all the non-educated people that are buying here, you're selling straight into them. Someone's got to lose for someone to win in crypto. Make sure you're not the one that is actually losing. Let's speak about Litecoin. Oh, there's the chart. This is the one I was looking for. So Litecoin, guys, I still think it's going to rocket. I still think it's doing incredibly well. I want to see if I missed out on any of the other ones. Okay, that's more or less it for today, guys. So I just want to remind you again with Bitcoin is right now we still have the double bottom that's in play. We are currently sitting on the 618. So if you jump to the 4-hour chart, we want to see Bitcoin hold the current low that we just made. Definitely. And once it starts getting back above the 27,400 is when we should start to see acceleration. We then want to get past the $28,500 zone and then obviously chase the highs from there. Tomorrow we'll have an update. We'll see where we're at and we'll take it from there. For now, I'm taking advantage of the tokens that are in buy zones with great risk to rewards. That dominance, I'm not ignoring this. This decides to drop. I'm going to be ready. I hope you are all ready. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all on tomorrow's show. Much love, Banter fam.